Generally, history in dogs has really been pets. As a kid, we had one dog growing up, and he lived to the ripe old age of 17.
Wow.
So that's seen it through the whole childhood with one dog, really. And then whenever I met my wife and we moved out and had kids, we got into boxers, you know. So we've had three boxers. Never bred any of them. You know, we've had a male and 2 females, but they were just pets and taking them out walks and just to bring the kids up with dogs. And then about 6 or 7 years ago, my wife showed a keen interest in Japanese Spitz, little white fluffy dogs. So we've had 3 of those as well, and we've bred the last 2 that we've had. We've had them now for 5-6 years. We've had 2 litters out of those, so that's our only experience in terms of breeding. But it was breeding pets. We weren't looking to breed, you know, champion bloodlines or anything like that. So how we got into the Chinese Chongqings, it was more to do with a friend of mine, Kieran, who's now our kennel partner. He's been following the Chinese Chongqing breed for many years, and he's always spoke to me about it. And as time progressed and we spent more time together, he kept showing me videos and pictures and stuff, whatever was available. And I seen a kind of resemblance in some of the dogs, you know, the size, the structure, the head, as similar enough to a boxer, not identical, but I like the look of them. And I says, right, I'm prepared to do a bit more digging. So I'd done a wee bit of due diligence on the breed and found the story very, very interesting, as well as enjoying the look of the dogs and what they do. So from there, progressed pretty quickly. We got in touch with a breeder, and we organised to get our girl, Karma. Took a wee bit longer than expected. So we also then started to diversify, and we contacted another breeder in Russia. And that's where we got Kaiser.
Okay.
And we got Karma from a breeder in Austria. So we've had those 2 dogs now coming up on 2 years. So they give us a great step to learning about the breed. You know, bringing them in from as a pup and rearing them up now in the adulthood in a dog, I suppose you could say, or the teenage years, whatever. So up to that point, and then we went back and got another dog off the Russian breeder, a little girl, Khaleesi. She's about 16 months now. Very, very good. And then more recently, due to the fact that we've reared these dogs up from pups, we decided that we wanted to bring in some blood from China. This, you know, as a more of an adult dog, and see the difference, you know, in temperament, how they do things. It's interesting. It is difficult getting them socialized and all that, you know, but it's been good so far.
What's the big difference have you seen between
temperament? I find the Chinese dogs more standoffish. I think our dogs are more used to as pets in the house, so they become, you know, very, very open to people, open to relationships, open to home comforts. With the Chinese dogs, I find them, you know, obviously very skittish whenever they come in at the start. If you know, a stranger goes to pet them, they'll jump away, you know, and move quickly. They may scare other people, but they're scared themselves.
And how do they deal with your original dogs? Do they?
The male and females are fine, no problem. Females and females, some of them get on good, some don't. So at the minute, what we're doing, you'll probably keep an eye on the page and see videos and photographs. We socialize them in pairs normally, or 3. So we'll take them out on the leads, keep them walking. If you slow down and you're walking, and the dogs have any free time, sometimes they can get a wee bit, you know, not aggressive with each other, but they sometimes don't like each other's company. So it's something you got to be mindful of.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's just a matter of letting them off the leash in an area where it's fenced off.
Mm-hmm.
Let them play about. You know the signs they look for if someone's going to start something or be aggressive or someone feels intimidated. So then you've got to try and nip it in the bud. But we've seen a few skirmishes, so it's not all flyers and birds and all that,
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the history of the breed, I know as much as what's basically in the limited books and the stuff that's been on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say that the breed is now approaching or as old as 2,000 years old. They were used for various different means. For hunting, obviously, they do have a natural drive in them for hunting. The history then is that there's not really a lot known in terms of artifacts where people are finding statues and they're relating it back to a certain time in history and they're finding it looks like the Chongqing Dog. So therefore they're creating their own story, and that's what we've got to go along with. In terms of a documented history, there's not a lot of information there. Going back to, I think it was in 1949 that they were nearly wiped out when the Chinese Republic, became a republic. They done it like a cult. So at that stage, it was just dogs that were left in the rural areas, of East Sichuan and the surrounding hills and mountains. And then realistically, I think maybe photographics is only going back 15, 20 years. I haven't seen anything older. So there's a lot they say, that they are an old breed. Just recently, I had 3 of the dogs DNA tested for health, just to check the overall genetic health, and then also they do a test for colours, the colours that the dog may have and this and that, and the lab work or the vet, whatever you want to call her, she says that she's never seen anything like it.
Wow.
In terms of it's coming back like a wild dog, in some senses, and even the colours, without showing her the dog. Say for instance the dog is red, well it's black on black, so it shouldn't be red. There's weird stuff going on. So I'm going to get the other 3 dogs DNA done as well, and she's also looking to see if there'd be any other interested parties who own Chongqings, and see if they want to get together and try and create their own database.
Wow.
So that's something that I would be interested in, trying to create a more modern history and a modern story. As I say, the stuff going back, back 2,000 years, we're just relying on historians and artifacts and stuff. But it's a really interesting story, and the facts are, and the DNA to back up that maybe it is 2,000 years old. Maybe it is one of the oldest dog breeds that have been untouched. They've already got a pull for the Chow Chows and stuff, the other Chinese breeds. So they're going to try and overlap and see if there's certain things that come across. But with the colouring, they say that they've never seen anything as how it is with the Chongqings. So they want more people. They do the DNA test so that they can build a database and find out links and just to see how the actual genetics work on the dogs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they were kind of mainly used as a utility dog in the rural parts of China, right?
It seems to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as I'm aware, if you didn't in China, if the dog didn't serve a purpose, it wouldn't exist. If it didn't do its hunting, its guarding, I don't think they were interested in companion dogs, to be honest, because they didn't have the money to feed dogs for no purpose. Basically, I think the dog was the hunter, so the dog got the food.
Right. And what are in the last 50 years, what do they usually normally hunt?
anything up to the size of a boar, that's, you know, whether that's done in packs or individuals. But I've seen the dogs, and they can, you know, they would be prepared. They hunt. I take my dogs beaches and big open areas, you know, and I do let them off, and not with the purpose of hunting, but knowing that there is wildlife about. They see just to see their senses, and I must say the dogs are super fit. They have a serious drive and really, really alert to everything that's going on around them.
All right.
So the hunting side of things would be no problem whatsoever. In fact, just tonight I was watching a TV program about Yellowstone Park, and Khaleesi seen some of the elk and different animals up on the TV, and she jumped up on the TV and she was following it round the back to see where they'd went. So she's prepared to go on the TV to hunt.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So, do you foresee like a future of some other kind of jobs for the dogs? Maybe some, you know, like police work or protection work, or...
I believe they could do police work, no problem. Because they're not very big dogs.
Yeah.
Some people believe that, you know, by looking at them, that they're massive. Again, it all depends on angles of photographs. There's not a lot of people, you know, having photographs, videos with the dogs out and about. So sometimes most of the photographs could be staged, you know, and they look a lot bigger than what they are. Most of the comments we get is that, wow, I thought your dogs would have been a lot bigger. But they have got a great strong jaw on them, you know, and they can turn into a crocodile pretty quickly. So I think they could do police work. They're a natural scent dog. You know, they when they do go out and you give them a bit of leash, they do put the nose to the ground, and you can hear the nose, you know, rattling constantly. They get the scent. So I do believe that they could be scent dogs. I know Alison, who you'd on before, she's got the Chongqing Hound, and one of those is training up to be a scent dog.
Right.
But that's in the breed across both the hounds and the Chongqing dogs, no problem.
And what are kind of the major differences between the Hound dog and the Chongqing?
Probably the shape of the dogs and the head, the body also. We're talking inches. You know, it's nothing major. It's inches, and then just the structure of the skull would be different. The length of the nose. But apart from that, now I've only seen you know, Alison's, and it was briefly. I seen the male dog, so I didn't see the younger dogs when she had them. They were you know, they were put away. But the male dog, nice dog. But I'm for the Chongqings. I'm going to stick with the Chongqings for the foreseeable future. But it's more the size and the structure of the head and the nose. That's it. But I think with them being so closely linked over the years, that two Chongqing dogs to the eye could throw out what looks like a Chongqing Hound, and vice versa. You know, I've seen that already. So I'd say they're closely related.
Right.
And maybe, you know, their paths have crossed many times.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense, because they do, from the naked eye, if you're not looking closely, you'd say it's, you know, the same breed. But
yeah. If someone doesn't, you know, hasn't spent any time with either of the breeds, then at first glance, you know, you look at a dog, you think, yeah, it's pretty much the same. But when they're up close, you can see the difference, you know.
And what major registries are registering your dogs? Is it?
Well, at the minute, the CKU, or the native breed scheme in China, they're going through the process now of registering all the dogs and the hounds. You know from the last call that the dogs have been now split into two categories. You know, so you've got the people who want the hounds and the people then who the Chongqings. So they're going to be separate, completely separate breeds. That's something that everyone's happy about, because you know I wanted the Chongqing dogs, and I was very pleased. You know that whenever Frankie Lung and the CKU made that change, that's the side of the fence that we're on.
Okay.
But going back, the CKU are working closely with the FCA. They do believe that they're going to get this breed recognised, and in FCA shows, you know, officially, not in Group 11s, but actually in their proper categories of 2 and 6 by 2021. So I think it's going to move pretty quickly. I received my first CKU certificate for one of my dogs just at the back end of last week.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So as far as I know, I'm one of the first in Europe, and if not the world, they have CKU certificates.
Wow.
And hopefully the 3 pets that we have since we started with the dogs, Kaiser, Khaleesi, and Karma. I met Frankie Lung. You know, he's the guy in charge of the breed going forward. I met him in Amsterdam at the World Dog Show and passed the blood samples and all the photographic material and all the documents that they wanted. So that's also in the hands of the CKU. So that'll be processed. As far as I'm aware, our dogs have been accepted as the breed. They meet the breed standard.
Awesome.
And we're now just waiting on a way to get money to the Chinese to accept, so that the paperwork can then follow on.
Okay. All right.
But closer to home, we have tried to register our dogs with as many bodies as we can. They create a document that has history of the breed, you know, because you could have a dog for 10 years, but if it's not documented with anyone or anywhere, you know, you don't really have any factual history on it. So at the minute, we're registered with the IPBTA, which is the Irish Pit Bull Terrier Association.
Okay.
They allow us to take part. They invited us to take part in their shows, you know, in the show ring, and also doing agility and, you know, working dogs tasks. We're also become a member of the ABKC, you know, which is a pretty big organisation. And the ABKC paperwork was enough to get some of the Russian colleagues. They take part in a FCI show in Group 11.
Okay.
So some people think that we shouldn't register with the ABKC, you know, because they want us to stick solely to the CKU and FCI. But I don't agree. I believe that we should register them with you know, any reputable organisation that'll have us, because there's no point sitting with your dog at home if you can't. You know, I want to show these dogs everywhere and anywhere that I can, and if I'm criticised for it, so be it.
Right. No, that's
the weekend just passed. We were in the IBKC. That's the Irish Bully Kennel Club, and Kaiser, the male dog, he took up reserve champion.
Wow. Awesome.
Out of over 200 entries.
Wow.
It's the first time that a Chongqing dog has ever taken part in the IBKC. And the feedback that we got from both the judges and the other entries was phenomenal.
Awesome.
You know, so, and then when was the ABKC show? Yeah, we went to the ABKC show in Dublin in September. That was the largest ABKC show in Europe. And on the day, Kaiser also lifted reserve best in show. You know, so that's 2 seconds.
Right.
Against, you know, up to 500 entries.
Right. Oh, that's awesome.
So I think we're doing pretty good.
And do you have future plans of maybe breeding some of your dogs? That way you.
Yes, well, we have a female now who's ready to have pups in December.
Oh, awesome.
She's one of our new dogs that came in from China. So fingers crossed, everything's going good so far.
Yeah, that's good.
She's also fully health tested. and so's the father, Kaiser. Both fully health tested. So that's something that we hope to see others following suit with. You know, I see a lot of people having pups and stuff, and maybe the dog's not being fully health tested. You know, that's coming from China right across America, Europe, and all that. I think with the breed, I think we need to safeguard it and only breed with good, you know, physically and genetically, healthy dogs. It costs some money at the start, but if you're serious about breeding, I think it's a must.
Yeah, I agree. Do you have any plans of being able to export your dogs to, say, North America or Australia or somewhere like that? Yeah.
Listen, once we've got pups, we had a litter planned for September, but it was Charma and Kaiser, our first two dogs, but Charma lost the pups.
Okay.
We had her scanned and we'd seen 4 pups on 2 scans, and then on the 3rd scan, halfway through the pregnancy, all the pups had just disappeared. You know, they just as if they didn't exist. So we had a lot of interested people who wanted to put deposits down and this and that. But we'll not accept anything until we've got pups. But also, if we find something really, really special, in the pups, then we'd be keeping some pups as well. So they'll not all be for sale.
Yeah.
If someone ever shows an interest in any, in a litter or having a pup from us, one of the first things we ask them is, why do you want to get involved in the breed? Do you want it as a pet, or do you like the look of it? We don't really want it going into the hands of people who want a pup and just they start breeding, straight away. It's not really what we're looking for. We're looking for people they promote the breed. I don't want them going to some place, dogs locked up for the first 2 years of their life, and then breeding, and then pups being sold, for if they're thinking that it's a cash cow. It's not a cash cow. If you breed dogs properly, and you put your time and effort into them, you'll be very lucky to make any money on a dog. So I would like to make that point clear. We're not interested in selling to anyone who sees them as a cash cow. It's not what we're interested in.
Yeah.
So we want people to work with us. For instance, there will be some slight adjustments to the breed standards going forward. Now, we held an interview with Frankie Lung during the summer, and he gave us a few insights, privately, and then we recorded it, of a few small changes that he wants to introduce into the breed. He wants a really, really straight tail in the dogs.
Okay.
Not bending over. We're seeing a lot of dogs that their tails are coming up over their back and pointing towards their head. That's something that's going forward. That's not going to be, allowed, especially whenever it goes into the show ring and stuff. He also wants to breed towards a completely black tongue. He's allowing us 5 years to reach that goal.
Okay. And what's the reason? What's the reasoning behind the tail and the tongue? Did he say?
Well, he thinks that it's two of the main characteristics of the dog. And he says whenever he was young, growing up in China, all the Chinese dogs had a blue tongue.
Okay.
And it's something that he feels that the Chinese dogs should have.
Right.
So it's something they work towards, and trying to get it as good as possible, and getting the tails as strong as possible and a good ear set on the dogs, and also trying to decrease the underbite. A lot of Chongqing dogs, this all over, the underbite can be too large.
Okay.
So we need to retract it a bit. It should be a Molosser breed, but we don't want it way out where its lips are hanging over its teeth and the tongue is all sticking out. We can get away with it now if we breed towards the standard, but we can't continue having dogs getting a larger and larger underbite.
Right. For the kind of the CKU standards right now, as far as height and weight and
the weight, the male is up to 25 kgs. So anywhere probably from 15 to 25 kgs. Now, in my opinion, a 15 kg dog would be pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think the male should have a good size and structure about it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't like to see it. I wouldn't like to see them getting the a terrier size, getting too compact and too small.
Mm-hmm.
And then the female up to about 20 kgs.
Okay. And what are the height?
And the height, 50 centimeters, the maximum for a male, and 45 centimeters. So you're looking at 40 to 50 centimeters for a male, and 35 to 45 for a fully grown female. Kaiser's what? He's 48 centimeters, and he's about 23 kgs. And I find him. I would like him to have slightly more weight on him. But he's an athletic dog. You know, he does a lot of free running, beach running, hill running. So a lot of other people, I don't know if they let their dogs, you know, have big open spaces they run about, whether it's just on a, you know, a farm or a garden or whatever. But I like to see the dogs in the open and let them run. They do love it. And they are obedient. You know, they will come back. So I would like to see that more in the future as well. Owners, you know, putting confidence into the dog. Obviously, not letting the dogs run around parks with other kids or other people, but you can find beaches that are empty and stuff. And I enjoy getting out to the beach with the dogs and letting them off, letting them explore. You know, they can snuff out anything. I've had a few close calls with sheep, to be honest. So you have to make sure that there's no animals and farmyard animals and stuff about, because they will snuff them out.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well,
Suppose at the minute they probably, not a lot of people know these dogs even exist.
No.
So not until they become more mainstream would we even be able to they probably answer that. But I would see no reason why they couldn't do the work. Hunting 100% for sure. Those dogs can and will hunt. There's no doubt of that.
Yeah,
Farmyard work. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I just like, you know, the old farmers that go hog hunting or whatever. They're always
those farmers for sure.
Yeah, they're always looking for a game dog. They don't even care what it looks like or what it is as long as it does the job and
it could certainly do the job.
Yeah.
They are very, very, very alert.
Yeah.
And they are a good dog. They'll be very good for hunting. 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I only have the one male. But we've been out running with, you know, three dogs, 4 dogs. When they're running, there's no problem. You know, they'll not fight with each other or anything like that. But what I have found is, if you take them to a smaller closed up area and they start crossing each other's paths, and they will, you know, there is an aggression there. They do want to be the boss.
Right. Now, what is the optimum for your program? Where do you see yourself in 10 years with the breed, and what are you hoping for?
World-class show dogs. You know, going into the ring and showing the dogs for all they've got, because the dogs are so elegant. See, when they're on the leash, you know, that the male that I've got and the females as well, you put a leash on them with the show collar on, and they just change from a wild dog on the beach to a dog that says, "I'm in here, I'm the best, I'm winning the show." And that's with little training. You know, we don't come from a show background, but we've taken the dogs to the shows, and we've been getting brilliant results and brilliant feedback.
Awesome.
And that's us handling them ourselves, you know.
And did you guys teach?
But also,
go ahead.
I would also like to keep them with the drive, you know, and the original instincts in them. I wouldn't want them just to become a complete show dog. That's why a good dog should be able to do both. You know, it should have a good, enjoyable life. And then when it does go on for the odd show, it's going to be sitting around, you know, for 6 to 10 hours. But it'll get good rewards out of it in the end up.
Right.
The AKC.
Yeah, the American Kennel
That's
Club.
the.
That's the biggest one.
Yeah, are they in the American Kennel Club? Yeah, I'm just speaking to Sinead, my wife. Sinead reckons that the people that are running the American Chongqing project, they're trying to get into the AKC right now. So the steps are being taken.
Yeah, I assume.
I don't see a reason why they wouldn't, because these dogs will be an asset to any organization.
Well, yeah, they just seem like a breed that the AKC would definitely want in their stable. It's just with the history and where it comes from and the look, it just seems like a perfect fit for the AKC. But I'm sure that they're waiting for the FCI to pull the trigger. That seems to be what the AKC is all about.
More than likely. But what they will do in the meantime is they will get, even if they just get CKU registration for the dogs, then I believe all the big kennel clubs throughout the world will let the dogs in, and they will show them in the Group 11, you know, the unregistered dogs, and they'll still be able to take part, you know, right up.
Right.
I can't see that being a problem.
How many breeders are there in Western Europe?
People who breed professionally or unprofessionally, whatever way you want to put it.
Hobby.
Well, there's one guy in Austria, you know, who's producing pups. He would be the biggest breeder. Then we've got another guy in Italy. He's produced a few litters, maybe 1 or 2 litters, and then you're looking in Russia. Would be the next. So there hasn't been many litters born in Europe.
No.
A lot of the dogs have been imported from China. You know, whether it's been females that have come into Europe pregnant and had a litter. Just recently, we've had Chongqing imported into America pregnant, and it had a litter of 3 or 4? 3 or 4 pups. I can't remember off the top of my head. So, and then we had a lady last year. Was it the start of this year? In America, in New York or New Jersey, she had a litter. But I haven't seen anything about the pups or where they went. And then there's a project, New Mexico, I think. They've had them for a few years now.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
I'm not sure how many litters that they've had, or if they've had litters. I'm not 100% sure. But all being well, fingers crossed, you know, with the pregnancy with Genji, we may have pups in the start of December. So, and that'll be the first litter of Chongqing dogs in the UK or Ireland.
That's awesome.
And also, as close a litter being born would have been Austria or Italy. So, for quite a big area, for it to be the first litter, it's still impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we've had a few litters of the Chongqing Hounds in Wales with Alison, but not the Chongqings.
And what is what's a good diet for these dogs? Are they pretty hardy as far as, like, you know, me with bulldogs and stuff? You know, they've got skin issues and they have to have special diets, etc. What have you?
Well, we use a mix of raw and kibble.
Okay.
We believe in giving them. People say you should stick to completely raw or stick to, you know, kibble, but I don't see the reason why you can't have both. We would feed ours complete chickens that have been pulped.
Okay.
You know, and then they come in 5-pound bags. So I would use that. Always with some kibble. So another, say they have that today, then the following day they could have beef with the kibble. I would usually heat the kibble up with some hot water. I would use Scottish salmon oil. You know, we put in some 10 mils of Scottish salmon oil. To be honest, skin issues, and with the dogs being a naturally sparse dog, you know, very, very little hair, we don't get a lot of skin issues on them. It's unusual. I also feed the dogs tripe, whether it's chicken, lamb. They love the tripe.
Right.
It smells horrible, but they do love it.
Right.
And what else? Liver. We would feed them liver as well.
Well,
I've got a friend who's able to get his hands on full human grade cow's livers. So we chop it up and give it to them as treats and stuff like that, you know.
Awesome.
But they're also partial to my boy dog. He loves spicy food. You know.
Wow.
He would eat my shoes to get a bit of curry sauce or a bit of pizza or.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a strange dog.
Yeah, that is strange. So talk about their coat a little bit. That interests me. I've never seen one up close. So what does it consist of? Is really fine one layer or what?
Yeah. Let me see. Kaiser. I put that light on there. Let me see. Kaiser's lying on the sofa sleeping. I'll see if I can show you.
Right on.
Here, Kaiser, come here. Come on. Come on. Can you just see if that's showing okay? Can you see?
I could just see his head. Oh, now I can see a little better, yeah. Yeah. Look at that. Okay.
That's in here. There's very, very little hair.
Right.
Just skin, right?
Right.
So that's going down the middle of his back.
Right.
Then you come over to the side slightly, you'll see some more hair. Very fine. He would be one of the more naturally bald ones, you know, from the neck right down.
Right.
And they think that this may be the most sought after. Some people are calling it buffalo skin and stuff. I've heard different names.
Okay.
I'm not sure how true that is, but that's what he is anyway.
Right on.
But he doesn't want bother tonight. He's having a sleep.
He's beautiful though.
Yeah, he's a beautiful dog.
Yeah.
Kaiser, who's that? You gonna walk? You gonna walk? You say hello?
Look at those eyes. Oh, that's great.
Who's that? Huh? Who's that? He's happy.
Yeah.
The fire. We've got the fire going. There's a good heat in the living room. So.
Right. And they're probably pretty hardy breed too, as far as like the weather, right?
Hate cold and rain. They hate it.
They hate it. Okay. Even though
they hate the. Would you see the part of China that they're in? What is it? The southwest of China. It's pretty humid, pretty hot.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm not sure how far the temperatures, you know, drop even in winter and stuff.
Right.
But no, they hate the cold.
Okay.
And they detest rain. They don't like it.
That's great. I don't either.
No, exactly. They like the warm weather. And their skin as well. A lot of people ask about the texture of the skin and do they need sun cream and this and that. But all the dogs that we've, you know, that we own and have reared up, they seem to produce their own oil, and it's like a sticky kind of an oil on their skin. And I think that's a barrier, you know, the elements in terms of more the sun. So in that way, they're pretty hardy. Obviously, you know, if the dogs are going to be lying in direct sunlight with no shelter, they'll be like anything, they're going to burn, you know what I mean? But generally, there's no problem with the heat, because we would spend, you know, maybe a month or 2 months in Spain during the summer. And the first summer that we took Kaiser, we know when he went over, he was slightly hairier. By the end of the summer, with you know, there was up to 40 degrees heat every day. That's when he started to develop more, losing more of the hair from the neck right down to the tail. So the heat does have a bearing on their coat, I do believe.
Interesting. So they're definitely, you know, they're not a dog that could live in an outdoor kennel or anything like that. So
I don't think so. No,
yeah.
Unless you know, unless it's protected from the elements, you know, or they had a coat on them and stuff like that. Listen, a dog will become accustomed to its surroundings as long as it's got somewhere it can go. You know, if there is, you know, heat. But they definitely don't like being outside.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any future shows that you're doing that you'd like to talk about, or?
Next show, Sinead, will be the ABKC show in February.
Okay.
I think there's an ABKC show and also an IBKC. So it's something we're keen to continue on with. We had an invite to a show in Belgium, which taken place. It's an ABKC show in Belgium this weekend. We were trying to organise going to it, but there was another guy who was meant to show his dogs, Chongqing's, and then he, for whatever reason, he's not showing his dogs. So I was only going to take my male over to the show, because it's quite a trek,
right?
You know, driving over and driving back and stuff. So I was going to just take over the one male, but it's not possible now because you need a certain number of dogs, you know, to have a class. So we're going to give this a miss. It's a bit unfortunate, but it happens.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's good. Well, I hope maybe once your puppies get to be 6-7 weeks old, maybe you'll come back on and just for a quick shout out. We can see your pups, and that'd be sure. That'd be awesome.
I'll even get you if I can. Can we turn this camera around? Yeah, here we go. Go and get Kaiser. Here, pup. You just want to get off that sofa. You want some food? You going to walk? Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on over. Come on, see me. Come on. He doesn't want to move.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And we've got Khaleesi over here. Khaleesi. Who's that?
Oh, look at her.
Say hello. And then we have Genji. Genji's the pregnant female. She's in the kitchen. She's just resting up. We try and give her as much private time as possible, you know. If we had got rid of these two, I may have been able to bring her in, you know.
What?
See if you can put these two. Go on, Khaleesi.
Oh, look at that.
Go on, Kaiser. Go on. Go. So that's them away.
Yeah.
We'll see now. We get Genji. Genji doesn't get on too good with other females. She only tolerates him for a short time, you know.
Right.
Where do we see? She there? Coming with a bone. Hello.
Oh, look at her.
Hey, baby. Hey, you got a bone? What did you have? Good girl. What did you get? You got a bone? So, that's Genji. She is how many weeks? 7 weeks? So you can see she's coming on really, really well.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. How's she doing?
So it's going to be. She's doing brilliant. She's still very, very active. She actually tries to do too much.
Right.
If Kaiser moves, she runs straight after him. She's still jumping up and down off chairs.
Right.
She loves her bones. She's eating like a horse.
Right.
Genji, what's that? Give me that bone. Give me that bone. You just get it. Give me that bone. Give me that bone.
Oh, that's great.
Maybe you can put her down. She need to see the size of her now, you know.
Yeah. So the first what halfway through December, you think, or?
Sorry.
The middle. Go ahead.
She's due on the 10th.
The 10th
of December.
Okay. Awesome.
So could be really 10 days before or a few days after,
Right.
But she's doing really well. She's settled in here very well.
Yeah.
Look at her. She's afraid in case someone takes the bone.
Yeah, right.
And she can't lie on her belly to eat it.
Right.
Who's a good girl? Give me that bone. Give me that bone. Give me that bone. You give me the bone? Good girl. Thank you. Give me them paws.
There she goes. That's great.
So that's the story so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Involved in the team is myself, my wife Sinead, and our kennel partner Kieran, who's on Facebook as Maximus.
Yeah.
So we're all pretty passionate about the dogs.
Yeah.
We all share the workload. In terms of the walking, the looking after, the washing, the feeding. So at the minute, with Genji being pregnant, Kieran has Kiarma, China, and Wu-Tang. So he's got them three. So he's got his hands full at the minute as well. But we visit each other every day with the dogs. We go walks together, and all the normal stuff.
And what are their sleeping environments? Where do you put them in a little kennel or?
No, they all sleep. They all have their own separate bed. Just like inside. So, but they're all locked, in a cage, in their own separate cages with their bedding and stuff.
Okay.
So they would generally go to bed when we go to bed, and they're brilliant sleepers. They don't want to be getting up and getting out early. They're quite happy. They lie about. They'll go out for the toilet, straight back in, look for some food, lying about, and then whenever it's walk time, you bring out the lead or put them in the car. They go to the beach or the forest or whatever. They come alive.
So they're pretty passive and laid back inside the house. It looks like, which is nice.
They're brilliant in the house.
Yeah.
They caused no damage. We've had boxers, and the boxers have totaled. They've totaled gardens. They've took every bit of washing off the light. They've destroyed everything. But the Chongqings, no. We probably the only dogs that we've ever been able to leave in the living room together as a pair. Whenever we go out, you can leave them for a few hours. They'll go sit up on the sofa or up on the chair over at the window, and they'll protect the house. Anybody moves in the street, they know who should be in the street. They know who shouldn't be in the street. Strange cars, anything. Very alert, very smart, very intelligent.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, they look very confident in the house too. You know what I mean? You get a lot of dogs that are nervous and constantly moving.
No.
I like that. That's why I like.
No, they're super confident. They love playing. Like say tonight, Kaiser and Khaleesi would be bunching from that window straight up here, play fighting in the middle of the living room. And it can be fun. And then we've got five children as well, so
yeah,
the house was pretty hectic.
I bet. Yeah.
Bit of a madhouse, but it's what life's about.
Exactly. Yep. All right. Well, I'll let you get on with your night, and hopefully I can talk to you in about 8 weeks when you have pups, and we can
Yeah.
do a quick little
Once
show.
we once we've got the pups in, we can do maybe around, what about maybe around Christmas time?
That works. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
appreciate.
just before Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time, and hopefully we can do a few more shows, and I love your dogs,
100%. Thanks.
and I'll
Thanks a
definitely be.
million, Sean,
Yeah.
for the invite. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry it's taken quite a bit of time to get to this point, but we're here now.
Well, it was well worth the wait. I'll tell you that. Thank you for opening up your house to me and your dogs, and I appreciate it very much. I'll talk to
No
you.
problem. Thanks.
Yep. You
Good
have
night, Sean.
you good night. Bye bye.
All the best. Take care.
You
Bye
bye
bye.
bye.